Hey guys, I'm John. Today we're here at the Mishimoto garage to install the Mishimoto Performance Air Intake for the 2014 Plus Mercedes-Benz CLA45 AMG. If you haven't done so already, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more exclusive content. Let's get started on the install. Tools needed for install include large and small flathead screwdrivers, 3/8 drive ratchet, 6-inch 3/8 drive extension, quarter drive ratchet, 6-inch quarter drive extension, 7 and 10 millimeter deep sockets, E12 Torx, T20 and T45 Torx, 4 millimeter Allen key, and 7 and 10 millimeter wrenches. Install time is about an hour, and install difficulty is a 2 out of 5.
Remove the top battery cover by pulling the top forward. Disconnect the negative terminal on the battery using a 10 millimeter deep socket. Use a flathead screwdriver to help press up on the battery terminal to help you remove it. Remove the top cover on the airbox. There are 4 T20 Torx holding it in place. Remove the air filter by turning it counterclockwise and pulling it out. Using a flathead screwdriver, loosen the worm gear clamp connecting the intake boot to the airbox. Remove the map sensor from the airbox. Push the gray tab out with a flathead screwdriver, and then press down on it with your fingers and it should pop out. Using a flathead screwdriver, remove the air duct piece by pulling the tabs up and over the airbox. Disconnect the sensor on the side of the airbox. Pop the gray part out and then push the gray part in and the back clip will pop off. Set the clip harness aside. Now, remove the entire electrical clip housing by pushing the tab back. Using a small flathead screwdriver, push the tab back and down and the rest of the housing should release from the airbox. Remove the harnesses from your ECU. To remove the gray one, press down on the black tab and move the gray lever forward. To do the red one, repeat by pressing down on the black tab and moving the red lever forward. You will then be able to remove both pieces. Before fully removing the entire airbox, lift the box up a few inches and remove the intake boot. Then fully remove your airbox. Remove the PCV and boost solenoid assembly from the top of your intake boot. There are 2 E12 external Torx drives holding it in place. Make sure to set this assembly aside. Remove the bracket that held the PCV and boost solenoid assembly you just removed. There is 1 T45 Torx holding it in place. You might need to wiggle this bracket to help remove it. Using a flathead screwdriver, loosen the worm gear clamp that connects the intake boot to the turbo. Using a flathead screwdriver, remove the intake boot from your Mercedes. With the stock airbox out of your engine bay, remove the bracket held on by 4 T20 Torx. Press the 2 tabs holding your ECU to your stock airbox. Make sure to set the ECU aside. Then, remove the pressure sensor adapter held on by 3 T20 Torx. To remove the pressure sensor, twist it outward and pull it up. Install the stock bracket onto your new Mishimoto airbox using the Mishimoto provided hardware. You'll need a 10 millimeter socket and wrench for the M6 bolts and a 7 millimeter socket and wrench for the M4 bolts. Make sure that the dowels point downward with the mounting dowel on the airbox. The 2 M4 bolts will go into the smaller holes, which are catty-corner from each other, and the 2 M6 bolts will go in the remaining holes. The M4 bolts will come up from inside the box, while the M6 bolts will be tightened down from the outside of the airbox. Before fully tightening the bracket, make sure that it is flush on the side of the airbox. Using the Mishimoto provided bracket, install the ECU onto your new airbox, using the Mishimoto provided 2 M6 bolts and 10 millimeter socket. Be sure to install the ECU with the fins into the box. Be sure that the box inserts into the mount and that the post fits into the holes as shown here. The ECU will be resting on the mount. Install the Mishimoto silicone intake boot onto the turbo inlet. Be sure that the worm gear clamps are already on the boot before installing. Before tightening the intake boot, fit the PCV and boost solenoid assembly above the intake boot into the CNC machine part that is attached to your intake boot. Using the 2 E12 Torx bolts you removed earlier, tighten the PCV and boost solenoid assembly when everything is connected. Tighten the intake boot to the turbo inlet using a flathead screwdriver. Install the map and pressure sensor into the pipe. Put the sensor facing the short side, and then turn it to the side to make sure it has a tight fit. The sensor will now face where the clip pushes in. Install the Mishimoto Airbox with the pipe attached. Be sure that the 3 posts fit in the spots where they connect. Be sure that the long part of the pipe is in the airbox, while the short side is connecting to the intake boot. The map sensor will be facing outward. Using a flathead screwdriver, tighten the clamp that connects the intake boot to the pipe. Install the air duct piece into your AMG. You'll see that the black foam tape here is white, but the tape you received will be black. Using a flathead screwdriver, install the air filter into your airbox. Plug in your map and pressure sensor. Be sure to push the gray tab back into place to lock everything. Install your airbox lid using the 3 Mishimoto provided 4mm Allen bolts and washers. Plug in the electrical clip that is located on the side of the airbox. This may rest by the side of the airbox or be wire tied into position if desired. Plug in the 2 ECU harnesses. Reconnect the negative terminal for your battery using a 10mm deep socket. Install your battery cover and slide it backward. Be sure to reinstall the hood latch cable if it came out from the battery cover clips.
Now that you've installed your Mishimoto Performance Air Intake on your CLA45 AMG, double check to make sure that all your connections are tight and take your car for a test drive. Also, don't forget to click subscribe and like us on Facebook.